throwing the ball well. And yeah, he's limited in terms of practicing full, but just feels better to have him out there. Nice to have Jamaal around as well, so they'll both be out of spring. Jamaal's a little bit behind where Taysom is, but just having those two back made a big difference. And then I think the influence that our new strength coach has made, Coach Wintrick, he's worked him really hard, and the players we made them tired today, but they were physically prepared and mentally tough, which has been a real focus for our off season. So yeah, a lot of work that we put in today, which was a lot of fun, with some players back that we've been missing for a while.
All the players talked about your message today being discipline. And why was that your main focus today?
You know, there's a point, maybe just with having a chance to reflect. Once the season ended, my very first year here, there were wristbands that had 3 words on them: accountability, discipline, and effort. And normally that really gets you through some really difficult times, difficult games. We lost 2 overtime games this year that could have given us 10 wins. And I don't think I really prepared the team in a level that, man, just challenged them to the point where they could be disciplined regardless of circumstance. For instance, statistically, the defense last year was top 25 in yards per rush, top 25 in pass yards, top 25 in yards per play, yet not in points. A lot of that came on sudden change or turnover of field position that was a little bit adverse. And so really the discipline to do exactly what they're supposed to do, really when the threshold was raised, that was just one small example. And I thought it was appropriate for our team right now. And I think that makes a lot of sense, and I think it makes sense to them.
How much did the post-game fight at the bowl game play into your discipline thing?
I think it certainly had an effect. I'm not sure what percentage. Maybe that was just the capstone on other things that I'd seen. And so what I really wanted to establish is, to our team today, is there's an overtime and a double overtime game that was really the difference between 8 and 10 wins. And what the outcome of those games were decided upon was simply discipline of doing what you're supposed to do. And so the visibility of the fight afterwards might have been what everyone drew their attention to. I was talking more really execution-oriented that affected number of wins.
I know you don't want to get into specifics on the discipline from the brawl, but
yeah.
Can you give us a general number of players that were disciplined or will be?
General number will be around 10-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't really go into who specifically and or what they'll get. Probably game week is when most of that will happen. We'll try to maintain a competitive advantage as long as we can and protect the kids as much as we can. But I think everyone knows I thrive on accountability and don't back away from it, and especially at BYU. So I'm comfortable with who we're disciplining and how. We'd just like to protect our players as much as we can also.
Is all the discipline the same as those 10, or is there different?
I would say mostly the same. And that's probably as specific as I can get, but mostly the same.
What did you see from McKoy today?
Man, he tried really hard, and it was, I think he feels like maybe the luckiest person on the planet, knowing that he's getting reps with our number ones. I did see him today. He had an ankle injury kind of coming into practice, so we're trying to manage that as well, as we don't have too many quarterbacks for spring. And so it's a delicate balance between, man, letting him go out, and he's trying to carve a name for himself, and then also making sure he stays healthy.
How hungry is this group after a disappointing bowl loss?
I think they're really hungry. It is, man, it's 10 straight bowl games, and it's a lot of wins. But they certainly want more, and the seniors, if there's a great positive so far from the off season, this particular senior class has been really vocal, has done a really nice job of leadership, has really embraced all the things they could have gleaned and learned from unique situations last year, and they're anxious to apply them and move forward. And I haven't had to do much. They really have been the motivating factors in that, which has been really fun.
With the return to your defensive duties to some extent, how does that change going into spring?
Well, my voice is a little different already today. If you haven't glanced that out or grasped that point, fun, harder, and maybe not as much longevity, but man, I feel like I have a much more direct influence on what happens in the game and daily in our program. And so shifting gears and smiling.
You had the recruit that got in some trouble in Texas.
Yeah.
Has that caused you, as the leader of the program, to re-examine the way you vet these players out, or is this kind of an anomaly?
I think it's an anomaly. I'm always looking at every single year and every single recruit I'm responsible for, and man, I don't think there's a program anywhere that vets them even more. And sometimes young people do things that are speculated or whatever that might not be in alignment, and I hope this isn't the case. But yeah, I'm responsible for every young person, and I look every time if someone in our program currently or that we're bringing might have done something that seems a little bit gray or out of alignment. Yeah, I look hard at that, but I am comfortable, and I sleep really well at who we bring and the standards that we hold them to, and fortunate to do so. It actually makes my job easier because the standards are so high.
As far as that case goes, are you kind of taking a wait-and-see approach, or what?
Absolutely. I don't intend to address it. Whatever legal proceedings there'll be, I'll let all that get through first, and then possibly at the end of that, I'll make a comment.
You'd mentioned a lot about Coach Winterick and what he's doing. How do you see that translating onto the field? Because that's what it's all about. What's that gonna
First
do?
of all, I think that our bloodlines cross somewhere. I'm not on Ancestry.com or Family Search very much, but I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't a kind of commonality there. He's hard on him, and he demands a lot. And just from a mindset perspective, I'm not even talking physiological preparation, but man, if that team is mentally prepared to practice because they're used to being exact, that helps a bunch. And we won't practice until they make it through the warm-up, and sometimes that might be as hard as practice.
Notice Manoa Pakula wasn't participating in camp today. What's the status on him?
So there's a number of players. There will be every year when it comes to spring. For one reason or another, academics could be part of it, or just simply team discipline. And you'll notice others maybe along the way, but Manoa currently is one.
Will he be out the rest of spring, or?
That's the plan as of today.
Okay.
Coach, top 25 in multiple categories on the defensive side of the ball, yet scoring was
Yeah.
the issue this year. As you did your post-season analysis, what was it?
Yeah, really fun to examine, and maybe the picture is presented as this, and maybe I thought that afterwards. Absolutely sudden change in field position, and so really yards per rush, yards per pass, yards per play, all top 25. Sudden change field position, those two things, which comes down to really mental toughness and discipline, being prepared for those extra difficult situations.
Do you see much change in strategy, defensive or offensively moving forward? Is just basically
a few wrinkles here or there based on personnel, but we have phenomenal systems, and they'll always work.
Speaking of personnel, was there any position changes made during the winter that took place today?
And that's always the question I dread most because I forget. How about if I answer that on Wednesday after I know I'm ready for it?
Yeah, I noticed Jatarius Scully was with the offensive line. Okay.
Yeah, and so y'all are really skilled at kind of bringing those up. So I usually make the move like a month ago and then forget. And so I'll be more ready Wednesday if I can think of any others that have happened.
How is
while I'm thinking about it, Stephen Richards, tight end from defensive end, and Tanner Baldry, tight end / our big back. Those guys were D-linemen. I'm sure there's others, but those ones came to mind.
how has Coach Howell handled the kind of I don't know how you would term the change in assignment?
Really, we've just gone back to how it was, and I think we're both determined, and we have an unbelievable relationship, and based on trust and respect, and he's one of my closest friends, and so that's kind of overridden everything. He wants to win, I want to win, we want the best for our players, and I think what I know is I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing to help our team at this time, and he supports that, and so I couldn't have asked for it to be any better. He's unbelievable.
What's the most important thing to get out of the next few weeks?
Oh, expectations. Just as the head coach with me back, having day-to-day interaction, the discipline, the execution, and the demand to do things exactly right every day in every drill and every rep. And if we establish that this spring, it'll be a really nice foundation for the fall.
You guys have decided to do the spring scrimmage on a Friday. What was the thinking behind that?
Kind of just something new. So I think marketing-wise, it was something that seemed fresh and kind of innovative and fun. And spring has a fun element to it. Football has a fun element to it. Man, you pray for nice weather, but it was basically that, just to add a unique and fresh and fun experience for our players and our fans.